How's it going, you guys? So, I just wanted to make a quick video about Vegan Gains and his opinion on Jordan Peterson reversing his depression and blah blah blah. So, Vegan Gains constantly tries to imply that nutrition and diet doesn't really have so much of a benefit on depression. And he hints it in subtle ways, and I believe he's even outright claimed that multiple times. But most importantly, he constantly ridicules the carnivore diet healing people's depression and calls out Jordan Peterson for supposedly lying about healing his depression on a carnivore diet. Here's the thing. So Jordan Peterson had clinical depression all of his life, and he's a psychologist, so he knows whether his depression is, whether he has depression or not, obviously. And he was on medications all of his life. And this is crippling clinical depression. It's not depression caused by a logical life event, okay? But clinical depression, where the cause is unknown and just reoccurring, and no one has any idea on what's causing it. And so he was medication free for 2 to 3 years on the carnivore diet, and then his wife started. She went into the hospital and was told she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and then Jordan Peterson obviously became severely depressed. To make matters worse, there's a lot of crap going on in the media talking about the Petersons family, and it was a lot for Jordan Peterson to handle. Now, admittedly, somebody who has their own book called, like 12 Rules for Life or something like that, and is constantly telling people how to live their life and how to be happy and stuff, you would think that this guy would be able to be happy and have his depression under control. But nonetheless, anybody's going to suffer from severe depression when their wife or their mother is dying or has died. It's called grief, and it's a natural response to human emotion. And sorry about the doomy, gloomy, dark lighting, but it's lockdown right now. What do you expect, right? Anyway, there's a huge difference between depression that is unexplainable, that you've had your entire life and needed antidepressants for, and then depression there's a known cause. Your wife is dying with cancer or whatever. Okay? So to say that Jordan Peterson was lying, that he didn't actually cure his depression on a carnivore diet because he suddenly got depressed when his wife was diagnosed with cancer, is fucking stupid. And it's just a manipulation of words and meaning and logic, rather than an accurate representation of what's going on. And it doesn't do science any favors to just completely deny the fact that thousands of people seem to be improving their depression significantly. Many believe they're cured from a carnivore diet. The same can be said about many autoimmune diseases. Now, first of all, thousands of people's experiences is very valuable. To say that it's not valuable is just foolish. Most people, they say, "Oh, anecdotes are stupid. They're meaningless. Blah blah blah," but they don't actually know what the problem with anecdote is. And the problem with anecdote is, obviously, number one, it's hard to verify. But the same thing can be said about epidemiology and population studies, cohort studies, and food questionnaire studies, which most of vegan science is based on. So the whole idea that it's unreliable is fucking stupid, especially because a lot of these people talking about healing their depression on a carnivore diet, they're on Facebook groups where you can actually verify and see their posts with their, it's old grandmas and old people that, hardly even use technology. And you can verify by looking at their fucking profile if you want to be a stalker like that. So, yeah, unless you're just overly skeptical to the point where, you can't believe jack shit, you gotta be an idiot to, disregard these things. But then the main problem with anecdote is that you don't know what was causing the depression in the first place. You just know that you removed something on a carnivore diet that healed their depression, okay? And if you anybody who understands elimination diets and understands autoimmune disorders and things like that, they'll know that there's millions of different foods that could have easily been the trigger, and it's not like this like resorting to this idea that plant foods are dangerous and they're going to cause poison and blah blah blah. That is a huge stretch from the reality of what's going on. Um, Chances are somebody probably took an antibiotic, like these people probably took antibiotics, or there might have been like a hindrance of some kind in their gut microbiome from their mothers during birth. There's a variety of different things that could have actually caused it, first of all. And second of all, it could just be a certain food that they removed, but they haven't identified the food. They just removed all potential triggers. So, and admittedly, a lot of people have problems with certain animal products. Some people, their symptoms are triggered by things like chicken and pork. And so it's not plant foods. It's specific condition within the person's body that's being triggered by a certain food. And I know this for a fact because I had severe psoriasis, irritable bowel syndrome, and many other problems when I was trying really hard to eat whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. And then I went on an autoimmune paleo diet, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and I realized that it was these whole grains that were the problem, for whatever reason. And so anyway, that's the problem with anecdote, is you don't know exactly what factors were contributing. But again, most people act like studies control for those factors. They act like all these population studies and even intervention trials, they don't actually control for these things. Like they don't actually. That's what mechanistic studies are for, and that's what further dietary intervention trials are for. Looking at all these people, thousands of people who have reversed their depression or they've improved their symptoms of it on carnivore or whatever diet, it's very valuable. It gives us like more questions. That's what science is all about. Science is about observation of the natural world, asking questions, conducting experiments to try to answer those questions, and continuously asking questions and gathering data. It's about evidence, it's not about proof, because you can't really prove anything. And people, especially vegans, they're like, oh, like it's been proven, it's been well established that saturated fat causes heart disease. And then you got like the Lion heart trial. You've got there's a National Institutes of Health cohort study that showed people with different diets had the same LDL cholesterol but different heart disease risks. And I made videos debunking that, but the point here is that it's like people who think that you can prove something, people who think, oh, people's anecdotes are worthless, like they don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. They're not using science the way it's meant to be used. And all I'm saying is it's foolish to conclude like, oh, all these people are lying. It's placebo effect. This man suffered crippling depression all of his life and was able to get off his medications when he went on this elimination diet, and now it's a placebo effect that turned his life around. Okay, so the big question here is why does Vegan Gains, why does Richard suffer so bad from depression, and he has his whole life, and it seems like it's gotten worse since he's got on YouTube? There's many possible reasons. It could be his girlfriend. He seems to have kind of some problems relating to his girlfriend, from what I can tell. The way he talks to her reminds me of some of my bad relationships, and I know what that entails. Obviously, he seems like he doesn't really have any friends. It's like you can, oh, that's ad hominem attacks. Like, no, those are clear indications of, mental illness. And so all I'm saying is the guy hasn't really helped his own depression, is still struggling with them, but he's projecting his own dissatisfaction with his mental health onto Jordan Peterson. The reason why he's so angry about that is, number one, he's vegan. He doesn't want to have to face the possibility that other people are healing on all meat diets. He doesn't like. That's the problem with any kind of diatribe, veganism, carnivore, even keto. That's why, like, I follow a meat-based diet, but I try not to call myself. I try not to like say I'm carnivore, or advocate carnivore, or say I'm keto. I try to be objective, right? Because it clouds our judgment. Because we don't want, if we're keto, we don't want the high carb diet to win. We don't, if we're vegan, we don't want the meat based diet to win. And then we come up with all this bullshit. And then uneducated people who go to YouTube for information, they see all this and they take it for face value. They're like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. My grandma told me to eat my fruits and vegetables. So these people saying fruits and vegetables can cause depression are stupid. My doctor told me it's a chemical imbalance in my brain and I have to take medications for my entire life. Stupid people think that neurotransmitters are created from their fucking foods. They think that you need amino acids from protein like tyrosine to create dopamine. They think that vitamin C is not a cofactor for neuroepinephrine. Fuck that, fucking uneducated fools, unscientific fools, you know? There's no link between inflammation and brain disease. There's no link between inflammation and mood disorders. You know, that's unscientific, you know? That's pseudoscience. And the reality is there's a gigantic link between nutrition and mental illness. And whether you believe, you know, a lot of people, they use rat studies and studies done in a test tube to try to say things like TMAO causes brain inflammation and increases depression, and you know, people who eat more red meat have more depression. Yeah, people who it's just like saying, yeah, you know, studies show that people who drink black coffee tend to be psychopaths. Fuck out of here with that stupid correlation bullshit. People who drink more black coffee tend to be psychopaths. So if you drink black coffee, you're going to turn into a psychopath. Okay? Correlation doesn't equal causation. People who eat more red meat have more mood disorders. But people who eat red meat, that could be hamburgers with french fries and sodas. That can be, a steak with broccoli and green tea. There's a huge fucking difference. And there's studies that have actually compared people with a higher quality diet that includes red meat and people with lower quality. All I'm saying here is Vegan Gains is suffering from depression. He's tried shooting B12 in his ass. He's tried all sorts of things. He does happen to have extreme trouble maintaining athletic performance and has for a long time. And he blames it on all sorts of things. He's thrown out his back taking a shit one time. He admitted that on a vlog. He's dislocated both his knees, but, you know, he claims that he's had that problem before the diet, but okay, maybe. His body composition since he went on vegan, he went from looking shredded and lean to looking pretty shitty, and he keeps getting injured and has trouble maintaining his performance in the gym, and he's always losing motivation, feels depressed. You know, the funny thing is, all of those same problems happened to me when I was vegan for a year, and happened to many other people, and I followed Michael Greger and was doing all of the science, all the supplements and things that he told me to do, and yet I was still dealing with problems. And so, yeah, correlation doesn't equal causation, and anecdotes are obviously not something to just go on. But when you look at the mechanistic data and you look at the population studies that, you know, that show, like, there's people who eat large amounts of red meat and they also have high life expectancy. Say what you will about their economic status. The point here is, if red meat was so bad, then these countries like Hong Kong wouldn't have, the healthcare system wouldn't really make a huge difference. Anyway, stupid fucking things I'm saying now. I'm just saying, Jordan Peterson, you know, getting depressed because of his wife, you know, having cancer. It's fucking stupid to say, oh, like, you know, the meat diet doesn't work. Like, the meat diet doesn't cause people to be immune to normal human emotions. I'm sure Richard wishes that was the case. But if you have lifelong depression that's unexplainable, and then you remove foods that might be causing inflammation in your brain, you're not going to be feeling those negative effects anymore. So it's a dumb stretch for him to go, you know, like, it's fucking stupid. Like, yeah, like that. People on antidepressants. Like, could you imagine that somebody that is on antidepressants and their depression completely resolved from antidepressants, and their mom gets shot right there in front of them? You're fucking telling me that the antidepressants are ineffective because you feel shocked and you feel horribly depressed and sad and unexplainable when your mom gets shot? You think that, oh, like, if the fucking antidepressants are so effective, how come you got depressed when your mom got shot? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?